It was always a joy for me going to the bank to take 200 shillings, to take 100 shillings. When I took 500 shillings, it was such a miracle. I knew what was ahead of me. I knew I had a younger brother who needed to complete school. And anywhere I was, I would always think of how to make money. There was a lot of 19 in this equation. I probably picked them because they were 19. I'm 19, I have 19,000 shillings, shares are selling at 19. I went and sold some shares because I needed to pay my younger brother's school fees. And I also kept some change to treat myself now to animals. So I ate a little bit of chicken and a little bit of meat. What's funny?
No, it's just the way you're describing it's the way you're describing it. Now that you paused there. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I found really fascinating, you know, when you came, you were very open. And you shared about your mom, you shared about where you are, you shared about your siblings and what you are hoping to be able to achieve. I remember sitting there and listening to you and thinking, how is it that you're so upbeat and excited about this HELB loan? And I remember saying to myself, my goodness, like, it's amazing how you are in a situation that I would consider dire myself. That's what I consider. But your posture, your attitude towards it was so positive because you're just like, guess what? I got this loan. Because you told me the whole story, now I have this loan. I've decided to keep 5K for, I didn't even realize it was twice a year. I thought they'd give 3 times.
No, it's
this is when I realized it was actually just twice.
Semesters are 2 in a year at that time in the university.
Actually, it's true.
In high school there were 3. So you probably still had the high school mentality.
I'm telling you. But well done. Thank you. But you continued. You see, you didn't stop. It wasn't, even after you sold those shares, you paid the school fees. Just talk to us about just that consistency, because that's one of the things that I noticed about you till today. You're very consistent. Every time you have money, like, what's that about and where does that come from? That's just the ability to continue to invest.
I think for me there are certain nuggets that I held on to and certain beliefs that I believe would build my finances. I had a vision on where I wanted to be. The vision was I didn't want to be where my mother was. I didn't want to be where my child would struggle to be out of school or to be in a certain school. I wanted to be in a position where in future my future and my finances were consolidated in a way that I was not constrained, but I had financial freedom. I also knew where I was. I knew where I wanted to go, but my mother had always taught us that our present did not define the future. And so some of the nuggets that I thought of using at that time, one is a Luo phrase called chaka chaka, meaning chak a chaka, meaning just start. So irrespective of where you are and what you have, chaka chaka. I always made reference to the biblical stories such as Moses. God asking Moses, what is on your hand? A staff, throw it down. What is on your hand? Abraham, use it. And so I leveraged the little, what I considered the little that I had. So it was so heartwarming and so thrilling to make all this money. You know, I went to Maseno School the following term and paid the fees for 1 term in full, you know. And so shortly after that, we got HELB loan as well. You know, one semester was done and the other 24,000 came. So I said, I can still invest. So I reinvested in other counters what I'd sold, what I'd gotten. So I didn't necessarily sell the stock to pay my brother's school fee. That was just part of it. But it was also to look through other counters. So aside from chaka chaka, I learned the discipline of consistency. So every year, whenever I got my HELB loan, I would put it. I have an uncle in the US who once in a while, he really liked my mother. Once in a while, he would send me money because I started communicating with him on email. Before that, he didn't know much about me. So I got his email address, wrote to him, and once in a while, he could send me $50, $100, and I said, I already have food budgeted for. So I knew there is a third thing in relation to discipline. So most of the money I would get, well, he didn't send me so often, maybe twice a year, but for me that 10,000 shillings, $100 was about 10,000, was everything. And so I was always amazed when I saw my money grow. And so that was it for me. I never sold to take the money away unless I was just selling to pay my brother's school fees. And before long, I was done with university. So when I was done with university, you are probably aware that I'm also a poet.
Yes.
I would recite poems across the country. I would recite poems for different churches. I would go reciting poems for weddings. And one of the things I knew immediately after campus was that I needed to manage my finances and minimize my expenses so that I could save more with the future in mind. So I looked for a house near Arboretum. My Buruburu aunt didn't want me to leave. She said, but you have a home here. Then I said, no, I really need to start and maybe try. Then she said, okay, you have my blessings to go and try. And if things don't work, you can, this is home for you. And so I got a small house near the Arboretum. My friends called it shoebox. It measured 3 meters by 4 meters. So I had to custom make a bed instead of the usual 4 by 6. Mine was 2.5 by 6. But I raised it so high, so it served as a seat, it served as a bed, and under it I kept everything else that I needed and hung my clothes.
What was the rent?
On the 5,000. Yeah, 5,000 shillings. I think I started with 4,500, then I paid 5,000. But hey, I was living near State House, you know. I was living at the Arboretum, and it was convenient for me because I could walk to work. I could walk wherever
where was work?
Wanted to go. So after we finished campus, we were applying for jobs anywhere and everywhere. Oh my God. I sent applications. Then at some point, an advert was made that a financial institution was recruiting interns, graduate trainees. And so we applied. And it turned out it was Kenya Revenue Authority. So we were invited for interviews, for psychometric testing. At that time, one of the media houses reported that about 8,000 had applied, and they only wanted 120. And so I went for the interview, and I was fortunate to be among the 120 that were elected. So people always ask me, did you have a godfather?
Yeah.
I said, no, I had God the Father. And so I got to KRA.
Yeah.
And incidentally, my first salary was about 24,000 shillings.
Oh, that's
Yes,
interesting.
net, because we were being paid 35,000 shillings. So speaking about consistency, now, as opposed to having 24,000 shillings once in 5 or 6 months, I had it every month.
Yeah.
So I had a budget. And I always said it's important to have a budget. So I had my 5,000 rent, 5,000 for the stock market, 5,000 for Ronnie's school fees, 5,000 for meals and so on, and you know, the rest for anything else for my house and shopping and so on. But after a little while, we were given a salary increment to about 60,000. So my net salary, it was about 80,000. So my net salary was coming to 60,000. Rina, 60,000. So most of my colleagues upgraded. Some took car loans, some moved from their bed sitters to 1-bedroom house.
Meanwhile, you're still in the shoebox.
But I decided to remain in the shoebox. Yeah, so my friend, one of my friends called Ken, really used to mock the shoebox a lot. He would say, this shoebox, when you are anywhere, you are everywhere, you know. You put your hands to the back, you are in the kitchen. You put your hands to the front, you've fallen out. You know, on the side, you are in your bedroom, and so on. So I stayed in the shoebox, but I took 50% of my income to the stock market.
Wow,
Yeah,
50%?
Yeah, that was all I knew at that time.
Just a moment, because I didn't realize all this, yeah? I mean, like, I remember you would still bring, whether it was 5,000 or it was 10,000, you would still bring, and you were very consistent. Yeah. My question is, these poetry things you are doing, were you getting any payment for
Good question. Some yes, some no. And I learned that even in places where I was asked to perform pro bono, I would still perform pro bono, especially in churches. But they opened doors for me beyond imagination, because there are people who would watch me perform and they would invite me for events. So one of the ladies who was known to me invited me to perform at the United Nations in Nairobi. I got invited to perform at different meetings. I got to perform at an organization called White Ribbon Alliance by a lady called Angela Nguku, and they all made sure they paid me. So whenever they paid me, I had 3 strategies. Part 3, I would divide the money into 3 or 4. So part of it would go on to rent. The other part would go on to my expenses, food and expenses. And the other part was savings. But saving was always what I did first. I ensured that if it was 3,000 shillings, if I earned 3,000 shillings, I would bring 1,000 to Faida. If I was given 5,000 shillings, I would bring 2,000 to Faida. And so when I would work as well, I would now bring more money.
You know, I love this because it is making what we say all the time tangible. Mm-hmm. We've been using this word Jilipe, which really in English is pay yourself first. Yeah. And many people don't understand what that means. A lot of people think pay yourself first means kupigia mwili pole. Right? Go to the spa, go and get a nice, you normally get haircuts, maybe 200 bob, 150, now you go buy get for 1,000, you know?
Buy a perfume.
Go buy a perfume, but it's not. It's not kupigia mwili pole. Jilipe, pay yourself first, is when you get money, you pay. Then now, the other lesson from what you've shared so far is very key principles. The first one, productivity.
Yes.
Whatever your hands find to do, do it. You sold mandazi.
Yeah. I became a photographer.
Became a hawker.
Yeah.
You became a photographer. You washed toilets and windows.
Yeah.
Whatever your hand, productivity.
By
the way, that's a very because you can't invest without an active income.
Exactly.
Some money coming from somewhere. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have come to the place where you want to either begin your journey with investing or continue, and you want to be able to be consistent and you need guidance and you want to be able to invest consistently, there's numbers on the screen. There's actually one number on the screen, 0759 777 Send a WhatsApp message and somebody on our team will get in touch with you. Whether it's stocks or shares, you want to invest in bonds, you want to invest in treasury bills, you want to be able to start your journey in the Oaks Special Fund, whatever that is. And even if you're not too sure where to start, we shall help you. 0759 777 Send a WhatsApp message and we will be in touch with you. Whether it is nighttime, daytime, weekend, don't worry, just send a WhatsApp message. Thank you so much and God bless you. Bye-bye.